Paul Atreides, the central figure of Frank Herbert's Dune, is one of the most enigmatic characters in science fiction. His journey from a young nobleman to the revolutionary leader Muad'Dib raises profound questions about destiny, humanity, and the nature of leadership. Was Paul truly the prophesied listenal Gaib, the savior of the Fremen, or was he simply a product of manipulation and circumstance? This exploration will delve into the layers of Paul's character, examining his rise to power, the role of prophecy, and the implications of his choices. Paul's story begins as the heir to House Atreides, a noble family caught in the web of the Imperium's politics. From an early age, Paul exhibits extraordinary abilities, a result of his Bene Gesserit mother, Lady Jessica, training him in their secretive techniques. These abilities include heightened perception, precognition, and unparalleled control over his mind and body. However, these talents are not just innate, they are the result of generations of Bene Gesserit genetic planning aimed at producing the Cuisin Drake, a super being capable of seeing both the male and female sides of human memory. This deliberate design reflects the Bene Gesserit's centuries-long quest for control, but Paul's existence ultimately escapes their grasp. Paul's early life on Caladan shaped his personality in significant ways. Growing up in a household that valued honor, discipline, and loyalty, he was mentored by figures like Duncan Idaho, Gurney Halleck, and Thufir Hawat. These bonds grounded Paul in humanity, contrasting sharply with the extraordinary abilities he later developed. His father, Duke Leto Atreides, instilled in him a deep sense of justice and responsibility, which became a cornerstone of his leadership style. His lessons on Caladan, ranging from swordsmanship to the nuances of diplomacy, would later serve him well on Arrakis. On Arrakis, Paul's latent abilities are awakened by the planet's harsh environment and the consumption of spice melange. The spice, unique to Arrakis, enhances his prescient visions, allowing him to foresee multiple possible futures. It is here that Paul encounters the Fremen, a people who believe in the prophecy of the listenal Gaib, a messianic figure who will lead them to freedom. For the Fremen, Paul's arrival fulfills this prophecy, but the origins of the prophecy itself are far from divine. The Bene Gesserit Missionaria Protectiva seeded such myths across the galaxy to prepare populations for manipulation, a fact that casts doubt on Paul's divine status. Paul's ability to foresee potential futures becomes both a gift and a curse. His prescient visions allow him to anticipate threats and make calculated decisions, but they also trap him in a paradox of inevitability. Every action he takes to avoid a catastrophic future often brings him closer to the very outcome he seeks to prevent. This psychological burden weighs heavily on Paul, isolating him from those around him. The ability to see multiple timelines strips him of the illusion of free will, forcing him to grapple with the concept of determinism versus agency. Despite the artificial origins of the prophecy, Paul embraces his role as the Fremen's leader. Through his charisma, strategic genius, and prescient abilities, he unites the Fremen into a powerful force capable of overthrowing the Emperor and the Harkonnens. However, Paul's acceptance of his role is not without conflict. He is acutely aware of the dangers of messianic leadership and the potential for the religious fervor surrounding him to spiral out of control. His visions reveal a future of galactic jihad carried out in his name, a possibility that haunts him throughout his rise to power. This tension underscores Paul's inner turmoil as he wrestles with the duality of being both a savior and a potential harbinger of destruction. Paul's training under the mentorship of Duncan Idaho and Gurney Halleck also shapes his military acumen. Their teachings instill in Paul a sense of discipline and the art of strategy, which he later uses to turn the Fremen into a formidable fighting force. Duncan's loyalty and sacrifice leave a lasting impression on Paul, while Gurney's blend of toughness and musical artistry teaches him the importance of balance both as a warrior and a leader. These relationships form the foundation of Paul's sense of responsibility toward his people. Paul's humanity is a central theme in his journey. While he possesses extraordinary abilities, he remains deeply flawed. His decisions are often driven by a mix of necessity, ambition, and fear. His rise to power involves immense personal sacrifices, including the loss of his father, Duke Leto, and the burden of leading a people who view him as more than human. These struggles ground Paul's character, making him relatable despite his near-superhuman qualities. His vulnerability in moments of doubt and regret reveals the cost of his ascent, offering a stark contrast to the godlike image projected by his followers. The question of Paul's divinity is further complicated by his ability to manipulate those around him. He uses the Fremen's faith in the prophecy to consolidate power, knowing that their belief is both a strength and a weapon. This manipulation raises ethical questions. Is Paul a savior, or is he exploiting the Fremen for his own ends? His actions blur the line between hero and anti-hero, challenging the reader to consider the true cost of leadership and revolution. Paul's awareness of this manipulation adds another layer of complexity, as he navigates the delicate balance between genuine leadership and calculated control. Paul's transformation into Muad'Dib is marked by a series of pivotal moments. His first sandworm ride, a rite of passage among the Fremen, symbolizes his acceptance of their culture and his role as their leader. This act not only cements his authority but also signifies his integration into the Fremen's way of life. His victory over the Harkonnens and the Emperor solidifies his power, but it also sets in motion the very jihad he seeks to avoid. This victory is bittersweet, as Paul realizes that his prescient abilities, while granting him unparalleled insight, also trap him in a cycle of inevitable events. His attempts to alter the future often reinforce the very outcomes he wishes to prevent, illustrating the paradox of prescience. Paul's personal relationships add another layer of complexity to his character. His partnership with Chani, a Fremen woman who becomes his confidant, and the mother of his children, offers him solace and a connection to his humanity. However, his role as a leader often puts strain on their relationship, as the weight of his destiny takes precedence over personal desires. Paul's relationship with his mother, Lady Jessica, is equally nuanced, marked by both gratitude for her guidance and resentment for the Bene Gesserit's manipulations. These dynamics highlight the tension between personal connections and the impersonal nature of his larger role. Paul's impact on the galaxy extends far beyond Arrakis. His rise reshapes the political landscape, challenging the power structures of the Landsraad and the Emperor himself. The Fremen's transformation under his leadership, from a marginalized desert people to a dominant military force, changes the balance of power in the Imperium. Paul's actions inspire both fear and reverence, cementing his legacy as one of the most pivotal figures in the history of the galaxy. Paul Atreides is both a product of his circumstances and a force of change. His story reflects the complexity of leadership, the weight of expectation, and the duality of human potential. Whether viewed as a prophetic savior or a flawed human being, Paul's journey forces us to confront our own ideas of destiny, power, and the human condition. His legacy, as seen through the ripple effects of his choices, serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of unchecked power and the thin line between heroism and tyranny. What do you think about Paul Atreides' journey? Do you see him as a savior or something more complex? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into the world of Dune. The spice must flow.